What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Third and Longhorn. We've got some extra special guests today, so I'll start on my left and let you take it away.
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Jay Hills, man. It's Jay Hills. We in here today. Let's get it.
What's going down? Fozzy Whittaker here. Happy to be here, man.
Yep. Derrick Johnson, a.k.a. DJ.
Yep. Alex Okafor.
Fozzy still sound to me like what I'd imagine a black Captain America sounding like. You know what I mean? Like it's legit.
That's my commentary.
It's legit.
Hey, he runs like a superhero.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, welcome, Fozzy. We're happy to have you, man. And we'll start off kind of how we always do. Let's recap this last game against Texas Tech. I think this will probably be so far the most fun recap we've had. So,
Nick, I hate to interrupt.
Here we go. Here we go.
Uh-oh.
Not even going to give me a chance to get ahead of it. Not even going to give me the chance to get ahead of it.
Hello, America.
Oh, here we go.
I told Alex Okafor, run the tape back.
Yep.
This game is not going to be close.
Not even.
We have been putting it together, and we've put it together. He looked me in my eyes, these beautiful brown eyes my mama gave me, and he said, I think we barely get by. I think it's a one-score game at best because that's who we are.
No matter the score, which is going to be close because that's who we are, I think we can be happy with a win.
I think I disagree with Oak. We left 3 scores on the board,
That's who
gentlemen.
we are, though.
No. We left 3 scores on the board. You don't believe we can put a game together.
I don't.
Oak, I'm here to tell you that is not who we are. And what you seen Saturday is who we, Friday, excuse me. That post-Thanksgiving special that we gave. That's who we are. That's who we are.
One performance from the season. That's who we are.
You are only as good as your last performance.
Oh, come on.
That's exactly
I mean,
who we
the
are.
committee's telling us now that it's all about style. So and now this was the most recent one.
Yeah,
too, so.
50 burger.
So I was going to say, you're going to let me talk?
I'm sorry. I almost gave you a sermon today. All right,
Change this to all the smoke.
I'll say this, man. I'll say this. I'm proud of my boys. Like, don't try to paint me as a Horns hater. 'Cause I'm the biggest supporter. So I'm proud of my boys. It was a big, mature win.
Yeah.
Senior night, everybody wanted to step up, and they put on for this team. I'm excited about this week. If we can duplicate and replicate that performance this week, that's who we are. You're right. We'll see if it happens, though. That's going to be tough to do. We'll see if it happens.
Yeah. I was excited about the guys, man. Us being Longhorns and we've all been in games where you score a bunch of points and they score, not enough points, and everybody has fun. It's a saying, if the homie can't have nothing, it ain't fun unless the homie, that's right. But everybody talking football. We talking football, family show. But listen, everybody had fun from the offense to the defense. Everybody was having fun, man. I was really, really excited for the guys because we've been waiting for that, right? We had some spurts here and there. Offense does really good, or defense does really good. Everybody, 3 phases don't get it all together. This game, they brung it all together, and it's peaking at the right time. So this is perfect timing for me.
Don't it feel like for the first time this season, the ball just bounced our way a little bit?
Yeah,
I mean, literally bounced off my man's foot. Like the ball just bounced our way for the first time. It felt like, you know what I mean? We've said it before. It's felt like an uphill battle just about every single game, even when it shouldn't have, outside of Baylor. Yeah. And this week it was like, man, talent on display. Coaching is they did their thing.
They did it.
And then those things that have kept us winning games, which is the effort, the physical play, those things were already there. Yeah. And now it's like you get a couple of those lucky bounces. You know what I mean?
All right. I want to hit a little bit on Alex. First off, you changed the subject so fast. This past Friday to let's see what they do this Saturday. You changed it back.
He a politician.
He does more than once. That you go ahead and slide that in there. But here's the thing. You talked about the emotions that these guys went through senior night, right? A lot of these guys playing on DKR for the last time, playing in the Big 12 for the last time. That obviously means and matters a lot to this team. And here's where I know that meant and mattered a lot to this team. not only was it the old heads that was making the plays, but those young heads, right? You look at Anthony Hill making plays, Derrick Williams Jr. making plays, called a Raptor, right? You look at Terrence Brooke, interception. You look at Manny Muhammad, interception. Jaden Blue, 10 for 120 yards, touchdown.
He went
like all of these young cats stepped up to make sure they sent the seniors off right. And that's where the culture, I think, has changed from where they matured throughout the course of this season. And you talked about it. They're a different team than they were week 1, week 2, week 3. Right? Every question that we've had from them from a media standpoint, you know, this team, they start off fast and they can't finish. Well, they just proved that they can do that. Or this team start off slow in the first half, then all of a sudden they put together touchdowns in the second half. Well, they showed they can do it in the first and the second half. Oh, this team ain't played a complete football game. Well, they scored on offense, they scored on defense, and scored on special teams.
Yep.
That's where the maturation of this team has gone. And I think that's what I'm truly impressed with where they are. Because like DJ said, they are peaking at the right time, and that's what you want to be doing this late in the season.
Yeah, 100%. And just kind of piggybacking off that, I was proud of the Horns on Friday. I thought you talk about the depth coming into play. I thought that was huge for us, and it just kind of shows the development of this team. We got young guys stepping in, making plays. This was a depth win. Like I can't think of besides X's touchdown, most of the big plays that were made were from guys that ain't getting the reps like that. So,
I mean, you think even to the last real drive of the game, it's like a 6-minute, 91-yard touchdown.
Yeah,
drive.
8 minutes.
8 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, and those are your, you know, that's your 3 deep.
future. Right.
That's your 3 deep. That's the guys that up down to the quarterback have not seen the field this year. You know, and they went in there and they executed the game plan. They put it together. Even made 4th down conversions. You know, 3rd and long conversions. They looked like Texas.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is, we talked about it at the game, Okafor, is like, you know, when you look like Texas is when there's a guy that you haven't heard of yet, and he's popping on this field, and you're like, who is that? He almost looked better than the starter. You know what I mean? And it's a young guy that you like, don't get me wrong, I'm excited about fill in the blank, but I can't wait to see fill in the blank. Like, you know.
Man, I mean, and think about that from the running back's perspective. Like you starting with the CJ Baxter, and then Jaden Blue comes in and just tears it up. And then you watch like Savion Red, who just runs so nasty. He just like, he scares me, man. He's
like, how much does he weigh?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
He's
not a huge guy, though.
I'll tell you this.
Huge,
anybody that's out there wearing 17,
Right. Running back.
he got it on his mind.
I mean, he was a wide receiver before, right? Like, and so, like,
This is a number that fits where you need me at. This
I don't know
number
if
fit
that number
everywhere.
just puts weight on him or something, but he looks big out there to me, though. At least
man,
the lower body.
he runs so nasty. And then Trey Wisner came in, like the freshman. He looks so good. I mean, he's been doing great on special teams all year. But to have that like moment was so huge.
Well, one more thing, I think sometimes we forget whenever a team gets beat by 40 or 50 points, it's not just the starters. It's the them able to, you know, the depth be able to help out. And I mean, to beat them that bad, I mean, I didn't know it was going to be that bad. I really didn't. I knew it was going to be by a couple touchdowns, but man, that's the way you come out and stamp it for.
That's the first time. That's the first time this year that I've seen whoever we were playing. I've seen them quit.
Yeah,
they
did.
I legit seen them quit. Like,
well, it's the first time we've seen the backups truly this year. We just haven't had many games, like, besides maybe Baylor.
But even in Baylor's game, down to the wire. If y'all remember, Baylor was trying to march and score.
They were still fighting, right?
The Martinez kid, the local boy,
he was trying to make plays.
They were trying to march. This team quit.
Yeah.
Texas Tech was ready to go back to Lubbock, where they say all things nobody cares about runs through.
I mean, our whole running back crew ran through Lubbock on that one.
Getting run through Lubbock was about right.
Yeah, he predicted it. All right, well, that moves us to, let's move to first down. And so my first question, and I'm going to take my own first question, and I'm going to pass it around to give my moment here. So, like, who was your MVP? And I know what you guys are going to think I'm going to say, especially I've been trying to like
Bert,
keep it up there. My Auburn guy. And by the way, Bert had an amazing game.
5 for 5.
And he had a 54-yard field goal, plus all the extra
He was
points.
impressive.
Dude, he outscored Tech. I believe it was 20 to 7.
Yeah, I kid you.
21. That's right.
Give my dog his extra 1 point.
If he could give you fantasy points, you listen, that 54-yarder would have been money.
But I'm going to say this. The MVP, I'm giving the MVP award to the special teams overall, because Bird had an incredible game. Keelan Robinson had an incredible game. Michael Taft blocked a punt. We had that special teams performance was incredible. And I'm not saying it didn't just win the game for us, but the momentum swings and like those plays, like Keelan's kickoff return put it in the dirt. Like it was over. At that point, it was done. And like Taft's block punt swung that momentum. And there were points we forget a little bit because it got so ugly, but it was 10-7 at one point, and it wasn't. I wouldn't say it was nerve wracking, but there's
you thought you were in a game.
You're like, oh no, this is the moment where we kind of pack it in a little bit, have a couple running plays, then miss on third down.
After Quinn's pick, that's kind of when I thought I was about to turn to Jay and be like,
yeah, we were at the game. We were at the game together.
There's always that moment.
We were at the game together, and if you think of like how it kind of was playing out, it's 10-7 after I think Tech got a really good kickoff return. Yep. We go up 10-0. Tech gets a great kickoff return. They go down, put it in the end zone. It's 10-7. We go down and throw what we thought was a pick, when we crossed the 50.
Yeah.
I think it was either a slant or a dig.
Yeah.
And we throw and if that gets overturned, we end up punting the ball, and then we stiffen up, and it goes on from there. But at that moment of that pick, Oak did look at me, and I was like, we might have a game. Let's see.
And that's the moment we've had in all these games where we feel like the momentum's about to turn for Texas, and then we just kind of dial it back a little in these and then these other teams are like, we can play with these guys.
Yeah.
And I think that was the first time it really flipped. But
I'm sorry. I was
gonna say who I need to hear y'all's MVPs now.
I'm giving it to Sark. And I'm gonna tell you why. I seen a methodical, disciplined, like laser focused approach from the beginning to the end. It wasn't, and I love him for it, but it was not about the show. It wasn't about the showmanship of it. It was 5 for 5 in field goals means you're trying to put points on the scoreboard.
You took the points, which we talked about
I trust
before.
my defense, and I've learned my lesson of not knowing when I'm gonna need these points later. 5 for 5. Remember I told you when we were there together, I'm like, man, if you telling me that every time we get to the 35-yard line is points on the board,
automatic.
I'm telling you that you're gonna look up and the score is not gonna be close. And that's what we've seen. So the discipline that it took to go against what he's traditionally done. To go against what he's traditionally done, the discipline that it took to do that, and then reward it. Like I always say, reward your defense, man.
Yeah.
If they got you that ball, reward them with some points, man. Yeah. Reward them with them not coming back on the field and that score is the same and that pressure still on them like that. Like, point. So I'm going to give that one to Sark and the coaching staff.
I like it. Fozzy, who do you have?
Now, I love that pick by Sark as your MVP. He still stayed aggressive, too. That's the other aspect. Even though he took the points, he stayed aggressive, went for the fourth downs whenever he needed to. But you already mentioned it, man. You go 5 for 5, man. You get hats off to the boy right there, Bert Auburn. But what made his performance so spectacular was what he was able to do to the record books, right? He came in, he needed 2 kicks to be able to tie the Texas all-time most field goals consecutively made. Well, guess what? He blew that out the water. And then he needed 4 in order to tie the Big 12 all-time consecutive field goal records made. Guess what? He won up that by 1, made 5, set the new record for Texas and the Big 12. I think his performance, and none probably more greater than being able to hit that 54-yarder to make it 19 consecutive field goals made. I think that was what truly embodied where he's come from, because he did not have a great start to the season.
I totally agree.
And people forget that. But he was not automatic early on. He was like, whoa, what happened to Bert Auburn? It was not automatic. And then he hit his stride. And, man, it's the same way this team has gone. Saw some shaky things happen early on in the season. Now they are rolling and clicking on all cylinders. And now you're looking at the new record holder in the Big 12 and at the University of Texas for most consecutive field goals made.
And you know what I love about him is anytime there's like a last second timeout on a kick or something like that and he kicks it, he always misses it. And then the second it comes back live, because so then you're like,
he's like, he's good. Here we go.
And then he's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'll do a little bit. Let me tweak that. And mind you, also just to put this out there, we still do not have the Head and Shoulders sponsorship last week. So I'm gonna say it again to Head and Shoulders or whoever wants to jump on this. Bert Auburn needs that sponsorship.
Yeah, he does.
The guy's incredible, and I mean, he's got those locks are just they're
flowing.
Just throw the
flowing.
I mean, by the way, walking in that Christmas suit.
You gotta have swag.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Like his confidence level was unfazed.
Well, and they said Sanborn, the punter, had a blue suit on.
Yeah.
And I can't find the pic. I want to see the picture of that. And like, I mean, I like the Bert starting to get a little swag.
He's getting the swag, man. Look, he showed if he show up with the braids. I'm gonna tell my man. Don't
even plant that seed.
I'm saying, Bert. Listen, if Head and Shoulders won't do it, listen. I got an aunt. She own a. She own a little store.
I love that idea.
Hey, I'm telling you.
Oh man,
Derrick, who do you have?
My MVP. That's actually a great. I didn't think about that. Sark was. Is probably that's a good tell just because I think all season everybody's been talking about Texas being able to finish, being able to just put a complete game together, play complementary football, and they did it that day. And I think as a coach, not that I'm a coach, but I think it's hard to get 100 players to figure it out. I think it's very hard, and I think he's been building this culture for a while, so I'm giving his flowers. But my MVP for this game would have to be Blue. Jaden
That's
Blue.
fair.
Just because you think about it, he's the beginning of the year, he's a third or fourth guy.
Yeah.
On the so for him we need him now. We need him. We need those big explosive plays now. And he's freaking fast. When I saw him take off and break that angle, I mean, being a defensive guy, I'm like, man, that guy, if you can give him a crease, not saying he's going to grind out, 15, 20 carries, but when he can get a crease and give us some explosive plays, I mean, Sark can take the rest and Quinn can do his thing. But Blue, man, I was kind of happy for Blue.
Yeah. So I don't think anybody will forget though that move he put on it was in the orange white.
Oh yeah.
That was the one. It's stuck in my head of like that kid's got some.
Absolutely.
He's got the wiggle. Sorry.
Who you got in this foot race, Keelan or Jaden? We saw them both open up. Kickoff return.
I've seen Keelan more though. I've seen him more out there, but. I mean, Blue, if you ask Blue today, who's the fastest, Blue gonna say it.
Keelan gonna say the same thing about himself.
Keelan gonna say it, right?
He was floating, man. That's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, so who's your MVP?
All of y'all had good answers. I think I'm gonna go with Keelan just because I feel like this was his moment. And I just want to give him his praise, man. As our gadget guy, you only get so many opportunities to make use of what you can do. Yeah. And for him to have few opportunities, but to capitalize on them opportunities like he did, you could tell he'd been waiting for that moment and he's been prepping for that moment. Yeah. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say Keelan.
I like it. That's fair. All right, well let's move to second down, and you already kind of touched on it for this game. I think covering it with the Sark pieces, I wanted to talk about the focus, right, and being focused, being ready for that game. And I think with all the Brett Yormark remarks at the start of the year, all of the fuel to take, all the things that McGuire said it last year after they beat us and the way they treated us on the field, I think the focus was there, and I think you kind of covered that. But I think I want to know how you keep this team focused for this weekend when you have everything people are talking about is, if this team beats that team and this happens and this happens, this happens. Well, none of it happens if you don't win your game. So how does he keep that focus for? And by the way, against our kryptonite, like Oklahoma State, Mike Gundy, he's had our numbers so many times. So how do you keep that focus? And whoever wants to take that.
I'll start it off. One thing that I've noticed about this team is they're not super flashy, right? And what I mean by that is you don't see them during the week on social media talking about this and that. You don't see them at the club on Tuesday, Wednesday. You don't see them posting crazy stuff out with fans, all of that throughout the course of the week. That goes back to them being focused about what they all about right now. They all about their business. And whenever you look at the business model that they've been able to put forth, and that's 11 wins on there with 1 loss. So they've been handling their business because of the amount of focus that they stay in. They're worried about one thing only, handling what they can control. Mm-hmm. And I think that's been the message that Sark has lamented to them, not just this year, not just last year, but whenever he first came in, he had to make that culture shift. And we're starting to see that culture shift pay out where you got the leaders of the room actually leading rather than Sark having to say things. You got those leaders stepping up, having that impact. And that's where you see this team taking off to a whole nother level where they don't got to say nothing throughout the week. Yeah. They don't got to be like, what's my man from Iowa State, the guard, trying Hufford. You don't got to be like, hey, they just humans, right? Heard from they don't got to say that. They don't got to respond to Brett Yormark publicly. They don't have to post it on social. But guess what? Come Saturday or come Friday night, you're going to see what they all about. And then afterwards, you see the celebration because it's hard to win. Coach Matt Brown used to say that all the time. It's not easy to win. It's hard to win. So whenever you do win, celebrate it and celebrate it right. And this team has found a way to harness that where they stay focused, not worried about the outside noise. They put their head down, go to work because they know what plans they're trying to achieve moving forward.
Yeah, that's right.
No, absolutely. I think Fozzy hit it on the head. I was just sitting over here thinking, I don't know who we're going to find first, that guard from Iowa State or Tupac. But I don't know who we're going to find first. But that he's disappeared.
No better chance of finding Tupac.
Yeah, probably.
And I know y'all probably hit on this, but what does Matt Campbell, the head coach of Iowa State, what does he say after Hufford makes those comments?
Well, you got your ass kicked. You just go in there, you put your arm around them, and you say,
"Well, we talked about it though. Like
maybe next time you don't poke the bitch."
Right.
I mean, but it's so anti Matt Campbell with everything we've seen in the history of him until this year. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember that. Like that, he popped off at that fan, and I think the like their hair started to come down a little like this year. And I think I don't know, it was different. But I guarantee you, he was just like, "Oh, I wish we could walk down."
Absolutely,
back. All of them.
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, I'm sure the guys that were getting their butts kicked on the line with them were just like, "Thanks, man."
I tell you what, I can imagine it. Him at home with his life partner, eating dinner, saying, "Baby, we effed around and found out." Hey man, listen. But no, to the point of how do we stay focused? If I got to get you up and ready to go and locked in for a championship game, I got the wrong team.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You worked too hard to get to this point. How many championship games, Big 12 championship games, have we been in since we've been in the Big 12?
This is the 5th, right? Is that right?
Ever?
Yeah, I think so.
Top 5, top 6 winningest program in college sports, and this is the 5th championship game that we've been in the Big 12. Haven't won one since when? We won?
2009.
We won?
And the last time we were in it was
18.
18. That's right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You haven't won one in over 10. Over 10, it's been well over 10 years since you won one. You know, you haven't been in one in the last 5. You're focused and ready to go. I'm not worried about that part.
Yeah.
Now it's just time to go play some Texas football.
Yeah.
I do not believe we'll have a problem with a slow start. I don't believe you'll see an unfocused team. I don't think they're looking ahead to a cloudy future that can go into 2 to 3 different ways. I think the Oregon-Washington game is played Friday
night.
Yep.
So they'll have some clarity on knowing what's going on going into it. And it could be motivation one way or the other. But at the end of the day, I think they're going to go in there and control what they can. And that's not just winning. That's how bad they can beat this team.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right about Jay Hills. That's at the end of the day, we're going to take care of business. There's no reason why we shouldn't start fast and finish stronger. It's just we got too much on the line, and we it's not about just a Big 12 championship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot more on the line. Not that that's not a big deal. That's a big deal.
Right.
But it's a lot more on the line to be able to play in the playoffs, to be able to possibly play in the national championship. All that, like, we got to know what we're playing for. And I got deja vu now. When I played in the Big 12 championship 2001, over 20 years ago, right? I was a freshman, and we were number 3 in the country. We played against Colorado. We lost that game by 2 or 3 points, 2 points actually. And so many things happened the next day on Sunday so Miami 1, Oregon 2, Texas 3, us, we lost, so we had to jump out of there. Nebraska 4, who didn't play in the Big 12 championship, waited, watched us lose, jumped Oregon to 2, and play. You know how bad we felt?
Yeah.
Like that would have been you all.
Yeah. And by the way, we beat the Colorado team that beat us. We beat them 41-7 earlier that year. So that right there, you as a freshman, I'm thinking, man, I wish a senior or somebody grabbed me by the face mask, like, hey, everybody, hey, listen, it's more than the Big 12 championship here. It's like the national championship is on the line right here. And that's all out on the table. So they're going I'm telling you, this is going to be a good game, another great game by the Texas Longhorn.
Well, first of all, I appreciate the history lesson.
Yeah.
I'm hearing some names that I ain't heard in a while. Nebraska, Colorado. Yeah. So I appreciate that. But how do you stay focused? I think it's leadership and maturity. We've proven we got the leaders. We got Jay Witt, we got Devondre Sweat, a couple of other guys.
Yeah.
Maturity, we still got to prove a little bit. I think that comes back to mentality and maturity. I think most importantly, going back to how Jay Hill started the podcast, I think we do need to prove this is who we are. Like that 50-point win against Tech that I said we couldn't do, you need to prove me wrong again. This is who we are, and we got to come out with that same mentality. And I think that comes to playing to our standard and not other team standard. I know we can play up the Bama standard, which I think we're better than. Let's not play lower, though.
Yeah.
Let's not play to a lower standard. And I think if we can maintain that, we'll be where we want to be.
And styles make fights. Let's not make no never mind about it.
No question.
Oklahoma State want to run the ball. Zero, a damn good player.
Yeah.
He can play some football. We just seen one that they told us could do the same thing. You know, he ended up with like 95. All right.
Yeah.
Me and you know what happened.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So, like, at the end of the day, Oklahoma State want to run the ball. What we don't allow people to do is exactly that.
Yeah. Right.
So it's like my good on your good, neutral field. Last time we were in Dallas, we took an L. Let's go make that right.
Yep.
You know, and I think that it's enough things here to get this team like zeroed in and ready to go.
Yeah, they and adding to the Oklahoma State running back, he does want to run the ball. I'm telling you, Zero is a really good player. What we need to do as a team, I hope I'm not going ahead right now, but what we didn't need to do as a Longhorn football team is make them one-dimensional. Put all our eggs in stopping the run, and then having this quarterback beat us. This quarterback is not like the OU quarterback. This quarterback is not. I don't think he's up to par. I really don't. He's dropped back 9 or 10 yards. I mean, he makes it easy for rushers to get to him. He not that athletic. He runs around. He's scrappy a little bit. He'll make some plays here and there. But if you can take out the play actions, if you take out the RPOs, take out all that stuff and say, hey, it's 3rd and long, or hey, y'all are down. You gotta bring your team, rally your team. It's not happening. It's not happening. Then we can get this big win that we need, style points and whatnot.
You point back to last week, and I know we got to move on, but even if you go back and watch that BYU game for Oklahoma State last week, now the weather was a factor, but again, it's not an air raid offense.
Yeah.
They don't mind this weather. The weather, BYU was smacking them up and down this field until they start wearing on them a little bit. You start to see that run game come alive for Oklahoma State. I think Ali finished with 5 of them.
Yep. Yeah.
Mind you,
Touchdown.
5 in double overtime. They went to double overtime. He grabbed both of them. So 3 in regulation. But they imposed they imposed their will. They imposed their will as that game went on. I believe this is going to be a game of will. This is
no question.
Don't get me wrong. You're going to see the genius of coaching coming out at different points. But this should be ugly. This should be. I mean, when I mean by ugly, I'm not talking about the scoreboard. I mean it's
back and forth.
It's who can give a punch and who can take one. This is Mike Tyson. This is phone booth.
Yeah.
This should be ugly. And again, what I would love to see is Texas make another team quit.
Yeah.
I would love to see that. What's it look like?
That's gonna look good to the voters, though. That's on national TV, like, hey, okay, guys,
yeah, I agree.
And that's part of it. We skipped around, and that's fine. Like, I think that's part of it. The campaign starts at that game. Like, the campaign's not going to be Sark on a press tour that John Bianco sets up afterwards. Like, that is going to be, that game is your press campaign.
Because you interview.
And I think you have to win this game by 2 or 3 scores. I really believe that. That score's got to look a little gross to some people to be like, oh man, they messed them up. Otherwise, I think that it's just gonna be like, Texas squeak by again. We won't have that like momentum that we need. So it's it's a little even more pressure. But I think if the team can come out like they did and play like they did, I don't know. I like it. I think it's good. But all right, so quick thoughts on this. I just want to hear. Give me one word to describe. Actually, or a few. You can do a few. Arch Manning's what you thought just watching him finally play.
I'll say promising. I'll say promising. He played just a fourth quarter, and he ran around a little bit. Took off running. I was glad to see that. Made some good decisions. Has a cannon. I mean, every time he throws, I'm like, I'll catch the ball. Don't tip it up in the air, because it is coming out off his arm. Young guy that's very smart, capable to do whatever potential wise is out the roof, and I can't wait to see his development and his growth. And we got something in the chamber. Got something in the chamber.
The 2 plays that I've seen, this is way more than one word. But like
That's fair.
the two plays that I seen that I'm like, I think we were standing. I was like, oh, okay. Was the rollout on third and long.
Yeah, I was just about to say that.
And the hit Jonte Cook.
Yep.
I mean,
Came back
on the
CrossFit, yep.
X. Like Jonte Cook.
Bullet.
It don't get, listen, this is pitch and catch. This is pre-practice pitch and catch is what that looked like. It was, and then.
Looks like the future.
And then watching him dissect the defense quick on, what was that, 4th and 8 to Casey Kane? And get that ball. When the decision was made, the ball was in Kane's hand already. And I was like, hey, man, he looks like his last name. Yeah. like easily put. It's like he looks like his last name. So I was like, I don't want to get too excited, right? And then even watching him down there compete, be a competitor on when they went forward on the goal line the first time he drove him down there, him not give up on the play, look, and then actually give his receiver a chance in the back of the end zone. I was like, all right, that didn't give us 7 and we would have won at 7 right there, but you see the things. You see, if you know what you're looking for, I think you checked a lot of boxes right there.
Sure. Ooh-wee. That's my
That's cool.
that boy about to be a problem.
Yeah.
And I say that because Steve Sarkisian has recruited this quarterback room to be playing at an elite level. We saw Quinn lead this team to wins. We saw Malik Murphy lead this team to wins. And I might go out on a limb just from the small sample size that if Arch went out there, he could probably lead this team to a win too. So the potential is out of the roof, right? The ooh-wee wow factor he got. I've never seen anybody on that 4th down throw. I've never seen the stadium of any team cheer whenever your team didn't score. Yeah. Before now, the ball changed.
Yeah.
Defense went out.
Yeah.
And the crowd exploded. They
Going
erupted
crazy.
cheering.
They love it.
Yeah.
I've never seen that before. So that's the ooh-wee factor that Arch Manning brought to the table and will continue to.
Well, I was blown away at you'd heard it. You'd heard Sark talking about how fast he was and how he was athletic. And in my head, I'm picturing Peyton Manning waddling around and Eli kind of waddling.
Waddling around is crazy.
That's a correct word. It was like a Dak Prescott warm-up. But he, and you saw his high school highlights and everybody's like, oh, he's playing against JV teams and blah, blah, blah. So I didn't expect that. And I was like, oh, he's pretty smooth. Like he's not, like it was way more than I expected. So I give it up. All right, so let's go. Let's finish with Oklahoma State. Talk a little bit about what needs to happen and what your predictions are. And Alex, start with you.
Yeah, let's start with you.
Redemption time. Here's the tour.
It's tough, man. It's like, who are we? That's the question. Who are we? And this game is going to answer all those questions and clear everything up. I'm not a Horns hater. I think we gonna step up to
Why
the
do
plate.
you have to preface it with I'm not a Horns hater?
I just go off of what I see. I just go off of what I see, man. And games are just close when it comes to us. And we have a tendency of playing to our competition. That's a good and a bad thing, man. I'm gonna say the game's gonna be a little closer than it should be. I think we open it a little bit up towards the end. I think we win by 10. I don't know what that score looks like, but I think it'll be a 10-point win, a little close at the beginning, open it up a little more towards the back end.
Oh man, I'm definitely thinking that we're going to put the pieces together again like we did last week. Maybe not win by 40 or 50 points, but definitely win by a couple touchdowns. I'm thinking 38-24.
That's close to what I was thinking.
We just, man, we got a lot on the line, and we're playing again, not just for the Big 12 championship. We're playing to get in the playoffs, man. And this is going to be a memorable year, a year that we're going to remember forever, being the last year in the Big 12. And to finish it the right way, Sark's going to have them ready. I already know.
I got 38-21, so our scores are very similar. Here's where I think Mike Gundy tries to get this Oklahoma State team to buy in, right? They already know Texas' #1 defense statistically in almost every single category in the Big 12 conference, right? Only averaging 85 yards rushing. You got your guy coming in, Doak Walker, semifinalist, leading rusher in the FBS. He's going to try to prove a point with him. But here's where Mike Gundy has been so good over the course of his tenure at Oklahoma State, is he take chances and he take risks. He gonna have Alan Bowman throwing go routes, go route, post route, like all of that. The reason why Oklahoma State got down against U of H and got down against BYU and even got down against Central Florida where they completely got embarrassed was because they didn't run with Ollie Gordon. How do you not run with the leading rusher in the FBS in your first half part of the game? I don't know. But what Mike Gundy showed me is that he is a quarterback. He is quarterback minded. He wants his quarterback to get some of that shine. So he gonna feed the rock to his receivers on deep balls. And he's done that for 17 straight years now where he's gonna throw it deep, give him a chance. I think Texas DBs come up big. That had been a question mark before Texas Tech. Every single quarterback that faced this Texas team, they got their yardage. Right? Coming in, they might have been struggling, but God dang it, here we go. 300-yard passing game for Will Howard. Almost 300 for Josh Hoover. Rocco Beck, he freaking only had like 6 incomplete. Like every quarterback was freaking hitting a whole new level whenever they started talking about going against this Texas pass defense. And then that all came to a screeching halt against Texas Tech. But Mike Gundy ain't no dumb coach. He going to be like, hey, it's something still there. That's where we're going to try to attack him. But I think Texas rises to the occasion. That's why I got them 38-21.
It's funny. I promise I had the exact same score. Like when you said 38-24, I was like, yeah, but take 3 away. And I think it's 38-21.
That's we from the age.
But no, I think it's 38-21. And the reason why is because I think we figured them out. I think we figured them out and we make them one-dimensional. And then I think it starts to get ugly. Right? And that's what I think what will happen is because like who is Okie State when Ollie can't run? You just told us.
You down 24-6?
Yeah, you just told us who that team is when they cannot run the football. Fortunately for us, we've been forced to win a multitude of different ways over the course of this season. So much so that people said we didn't have an identity, right? Because we've been forced to adjust and prevail. And we've been doing that week after week after week until we've seen it kind of all come together. I think that momentum rolling into this game with what's on the line, you got a team that's believing and playing at the level of their talent. It's what we said, that 5-star culture is now matching that 5-star talent. We are better than them across the board. I don't want that to be mixed up here. The question to this point kind of has been who shows up. I'm thinking we get our team showing up. And so I think I'm going to give Okie State theirs just because I respect Coach Gundy. He's going to find a way to get some points on the board. But I think as that game starts to go on and we start to figure that out and that interior defensive line starts to take over. And you got them young cats that are now not so young flying off those edges. I think it's too much. I've seen enough Okie State this year to know that I'm not afraid of the offensive line. I'm not afraid of the defensive line. It's a lot of guys that have talent, that have speed, that have ability, that play hard. But you ain't good enough. You're just not good enough. And I think we're going to show you that.
Well, and I think Gundy kind of alluded to it. He said Sark stays in his box when he's prepping for this game. He is who he is, right? And Texas has been this team this year that's like, you know what we're going to do. You know who our guys are, and we're just going to do it. It was like Larry Bird used to call his shot. Be like, I'm a shooter right here, and I'm going to beat you, right? And I think that's what they know what Texas is going to do. Gundy's the polar opposite. Gundy's a tinkerer. He's crafty. He watches. He's hardcore about that, and that's why he's given Texas such fits. And I think I honestly believe he's the best coach in the Big 12. I think Sark's on his way to being that, and he's leaving, so it's not going to happen. But I think Gundy, he pulls some things out that really mess with us. But I think Texas is just too talented in this, and I think they don't. Their weapons don't match up well with our weapons, right? Like the fact that they're 100%. And so I got this one 41-20 Texas. I give my man Bert some points.
This goes a little bit back to you looking back, at our team last year. This is part of that redemption tour. Go back and look at that first half against Okie State last year.
Worst half.
And then look at that second half against Okie State last year, right? Like we got out coached in that one a little bit, right? And I mean, I don't know if Quinn was hurt or what, but I remember last year we were missing high. It felt like that whole game,
high and low.
We were just missing high, right? Missing high. Man, you got to be crazy to believe that that's not being talked about.
That win's not going to be
that's not being talked about.
It's also true.
You know what I mean? Like
That's the belief they think they have.
Yeah, even hey man, the last time we lined it down with these guys, this is what they did.
Yeah.
This is what they said about you.
Yeah.
This is who they believe they were versus who you are. You got to go get your lick back. You got to go get your You got to go get your lick back. You know, same thing I tell my kids. Like, go get your lick back. So that's what we doing here.
Parenting at its
You might want to take that. Go get your lick back.
I love it. Well, thanks, guys. Fozzy, thanks so much for joining us this week. This was awesome. We'll be back hopefully with a Big 12 championship recap, hopefully, and hopefully some good news about a playoff, etc. So we'll see y'all next week.
Love it. Oak was wrong.